Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on Ask Me Anything Copilot. My name is Jessica Dubey, and I am the Product Training Manager here at Fixflo, and I'm going to be hosting this morning's webinar for you. Just to let you know, this webinar is, of course, being recorded, and it will take us around 45 minutes to get through all of the material today. So you will receive a recording of this webinar by the end of play this week. So if there's any sections you'd like to rewatch, of course, you will have the opportunity to do so. Before we get started, I just want to go through a very quick agenda with you all. And I just want to also thank you all for coming this morning. It's really brilliant to see so many of you on here. So what's coming up in the next 45 minutes? Well, first of all, I'm going to be going through how you can use Copilot to automate repetitive maintenance tasks, such as instructing jobs onto specific contractors based on their repair type. I'm going to be going through the 3 most popular automation hacks that you need to know. And at the end, there will be a live Q&A. So this is an Ask Me Anything webinar. So I would absolutely love to hear all of your questions. Do feel free to get them over to me. There is a Q&A button, which is available on your Zoom bar. Feel free to use it any time. Just to keep us on track today, I will be going through all of the questions at the end of the webinar. And I'm going to be starting with this other material first of all. So if you have a question, pop it in the Q&A. I will be so pleased to hear from you and also to answer your questions. Before we get started, I do just have a very quick poll. We're going to start off here with the benefits. So what are the benefits of using Fixflo's Copilot feature? Well, first of all, it can help to save you time for tasks, which will help to grow your business. So if you're saving time on kind of everyday admin, that means you can then put that time into other tasks which involve growing your business and your portfolio. So cut down on those repetitive admin tasks and actually spend that time in other places. Secondly, it can allow you to triage repairs, and you will not lose your evenings and weekends. So you can get them back actually using Copilot. And finally, it allows you to easily provide a personalized service at scale. So that can be a service to your landlords and also your occupiers. We're going to delve in now to how it works. So as I say, Fixflo's Copilot tool does, of course, sit within Fixflo. And it's on your left-hand menu sidebar. It's just at the bottom and it's just here. So just to let you know, what Copilot does is it allows you to set up automation to say if X happens, you would like to automate Y. These rules can be set up by clicking here on Copilot, and this will take you through to your Copilot automation tool. Now, if you're not using Copilot at all, this is exactly what you will see when you click on Copilot here. And you can click here on Add Rule. Once you've clicked on Add Rule, it will take you here to add a new rule. Now, as you can see here, we have got a number of templates available to you. So these are really, really helpful to use because they will save you time when you're creating Copilot rules in order to set up automation. And these are based on kind of our customers' most used maintenance issues which come through. So here, for example, we've got instruct plumber, we've got when your boiler's not working, issues in the bathroom and toilet, water leaks within properties. These are kind of the most common issues which are reported by occupiers, which is why we've added these as templates. So as I say, this will save you and your team time. So you can simply click add here on the right-hand side if you wanted to use one of our templates. And of course, once using the template, you can edit it as well. So it's not going to be stuck to what we've added for you. You will be able to make amendments to it. We've also got commonly used rules here as well, such as notify landlord. And we've also got kind of out of hours maintenance issues as well. So as I say, with Copilot, you really can get your evenings and weekends back because you can automate out of hours maintenance issues as well. Further to that, you can also use our contractor marketplace. So if you are struggling to source your own contractors, please don't worry. Fixflo do have a contractor marketplace, which you could use as well. They're all vetted and reliable contractors, and even better, they also use Fixflo as well. So they'll follow all of your workflow processes. So there's a number here, and it is worth having a look through these. For this example, I'm going to click here on add an empty rule because I want to show you what you would do if you were literally starting from scratch. So this will take you through to add a rule. And the first thing you need to do here is add a rule name. So I would say with this, it sounds really obvious, but just be super clear. You want to make sure that if it's not you logging into Fixflo and clicking on Copilot, anybody in your team will understand very, very quickly exactly what the rule is based on your name. Also, if you've got a number of rules set up, you want to be able to very easily kind of look at them all and understand exactly what's set up without having to click into each and every rule. Some of our customers do have lots and lots of rules set up. So honestly, having a simple rule name that makes sense to not just you, but other team members as well, really is key. So with this example, I'm going to put locked out instruct to Bridgie. Okay, perfect. So that's my rule name here. Now we've got two different triggers available on Copilot. We've got issue creation. Now that means that the automation will happen as soon as the issue is created. And then we've got pre-issue creation. So you can even set up rules for before the issue is created, which means that you can ask the occupier things. Well, you can ask them if it's an emergency, basically, but I'll show you that in just a moment. You can easily enable and disable rules. So even once they're set up, you can easily disable them and then re-enable them if you want to. So just because you've set one up doesn't mean it needs to be enabled. But I'm going to enable this one because I want it to work. And then here we can add a filter. So you have a number of filters available and they're all available from this drop down here. So when adding rules, you can get really, really granular and super duper specific if you want to. So just to run through these, any. So this is any issue that is reported. This is really, really broad. And of course, you can add that if you want to. So basically, if you wanted to automate any issue at all, you would choose any. Covered by network. Now this must be clicked on and added as a filter if you are going to be using Fixflo's Contractor Marketplace. You will need to have everything set up on Fixflo Contractor Marketplace kind of outside of Copilot in order to use this, and you'll need to have kind of all of your director's details and your direct debit and everything set up. But if you have that set up and you want to use that contractor marketplace, you must include covered by network as a filter. Below here, we have got period. Now, this is you specifying a specific period of time to say that, for example, over Christmas, you would like an issue you would like certain issues to be automated. Fault, this is you being really granular about exactly what fault it is that you're automating. Below that here, we've got fault priority. So on Fixflo, when an issue is reported, it will be given a fault priority. This will go from 0, meaning emergency, through to 5. So there are kind of 6 numbers. And if you wanted to, you could say that any emergency issues you want to kind of automate onto a specific contractor, or you might want to notify the landlord about it. Something like that is what you can do there. Time. So this is recurring time. So you could say, for example, every single evening or every weekend, you want certain issues to be automated onto a contractor. You can be location specific. So this would be adding postcodes. Property specific. So here, for example, you could say that you want X number of properties to be automated or not. If you're using property tags, then what you could do is you could add the tag into here. So say, for example, you had a number of properties which had British Gas Home Care. What you could then do is you could set up property tags for those properties and then add that tag into Copilot so that nothing automates through to anything with British Gas Home Care. Or you could even notify the occupier to say, thank you for reporting this issue. I'm aware, we know here at ABC Lettings, you have got British Gas Home Care. Please make sure you contact British Gas about this issue. So that is something that could work really, really well as well. You can be landlord specific. Who's raised the issue? You've got under warranty is communal. You've got reported as an emergency as well. So that is if you've got the pre-issue creation rules set up and you've asked an occupier, is this an emergency? You could then set up an additional rule to say any emergencies that are reported you would like to instruct on. So you're kind of giving the occupier the power there. And you've also got the issue type here as well. So issue type would be if it's a service event or if it's a reactive issue. So that's kind of just a general list of everything you can use on your filters to get really granular as to what the issue would be. Now, with this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a dummy one and I'm going to select fault here. And here we've got the fault tree. So these are all of the fault trees when an occupier is reporting a maintenance issue. Now, because this is locked out, I'm going to go under doors, garages and locks. Now, what I can do is I can tick the entire section of doors, garages and locks here, or alternatively, I could open this up and get more granular. So I don't necessarily want anybody that reports any maintenance issue to do with doors, garages and locks. So I'm going to actually untick that. Just wanted to show you that. And I'm going to go to locks and keys and open that up. And I'm going to say here, key lost. So if an occupier reports that their key is lost, whether they can or can't access the property, or even if they say other under this option, I would like to automate this on. Now, if I wanted this to be evenings and weekends, for example, then I could, of course, add another filter here to be time specific, for example. But with this, I'm going to keep it as it is because I want anybody that's locked out, whether it's night or day, whether it's during the week or the weekend, doesn't matter for me. I would like to always instruct this on to a particular contractor. Now, obviously, if you work with a really wide area, then you might want to be location specific as well, or property specific perhaps. So do bear that in mind. But for me, with this example, I work with a small area. It's always the same locksmith every single time. So I'm quite happy. And this is where I would select my action. Now, we've got do nothing, which I will go over very shortly. Notify. So this is where you can notify different people. So you could, for example, set up a notification for yourself. You could set up a notification for the landlord to keep them automatically in the loop when the issues come through. You can send the occupier, a specific issue, leaseholder and all occupiers as well. So any occupiers that are registered as living at that address. So notify works really, really well to keep people in the loop. Again, back to that British Gas home care example, you could notify the occupier to report the issue straight to British Gas. And then we've got, this is how you can use the Fixflo workflow. So you can automatically instruct the works onto a contractor and also request quotes. So with this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose instruct works and I'm going to select a contractor here who I put in my title of the issue. Of the Copilot rule, sorry. So I've got my contractor here. You can set a works authorization limit and you must also add an instruction note. So just going to keep something nice and simple there and put please resolve. Once happy, you can press OK. Now, remember, with Copilot, you are setting up automation. So just be 100% sure that you're really happy with your filters and your action. And you can also add multiple actions just to let you know. So if you wanted to add an action to instruct, you could also add an additional action to notify. So that is something you could do. So you could notify the landlord at the same time, or even yourself or the occupier to say, you know, this has been reported on to a contractor. Although actually there is a notification to occupiers at that point to say the issue's been instructed. So if you've got that turned on, you wouldn't need to set up an additional notification to the occupier, or they'll receive 3 emails as soon as they report an issue, which is automated through Copilot. The first one is the initial email that goes out to say an issue's been reported. The second one will be that automatic notification set up to say this has now been instructed to a contractor. And if you were to set up the additional action to notify the occupier, it would then send out a 3rd email. So that might be a little bit overkill. Okay, so just double check that you're fully happy with everything you've set up. And once you are, press save. It might also be worth just getting a colleague just to check everything to make sure you're happy. And once that is set up, you can see on your Copilot system now that this rule is set up. It is enabled as well. And if ever you wanted to disable it and you wanted to add it another time, you could always disable here and then re-enable. Much easier than kind of removing any rules that you and then having to re-add them if you wanted to add them later. So what would happen now if an occupier was to report that they're locked out based on this rule? Well, let's have a very quick look. So here I am on my occupier side of Fixflo, and I'm an occupier now and I've been locked out. Occupiers, of course, will have no idea that you've got Copilot set up. All they know is any issues that they need to report, they report them on Fixflo. So with this occupier, I'm going to click on doors, garages and locks, and I'm going to say obviously it's locks and keys and that I've lost my key. Now, remember, with the Copilot rule you've set up, the occupier can click on any of these options for it to automate. Again, not that the occupier is aware of that, but that is how this one will work. So I'm going to say that the key is lost and I cannot access the property. As you should, as hopefully you would know, occupiers must here add a fault detail. So this is a mandatory field. So my key is lost. Perfect. They can add any photos if they want to. Here they must provide their first name. So let's go with Emma Jones, so their surname, their email address, and also their telephone number. Perfect. Scrolling down, here they must add their address. Now remember, with this, we have not been location specific. So any kind of property that they put down here, it will automate to. So I'm going to say we live at Fixflo House. Scrolling down, this is the final section here. So they just need to provide any additional information they want to. So for this, I'm just going to agree to the terms and conditions, as that is, again, mandatory. And that is just stating that we are not you. So Fixflo is a hub they're reporting the maintenance issue on. And again, they can provide any additional information if you've got these fields set up as well. Once happy, they can press submit. They can review everything. And then once they're happy, they can confirm that. Now, what happens when a maintenance issue is reported on Fixflo is the issue will go into Fixflo, and it will first of all go to Copilot, and it will say, does anything that's been reported, does it exactly match what you've set up on Copilot? Now, the issue must match exactly to the rule you've set up. So if I'd set up a rule to say, I just want anybody that reports a maintenance issue at the weekend to say that they're locked out, because we're not at the weekend yet and it's Wednesday, the issue would then not automate through, if that makes sense. Again, if we've been location specific or put in a specific period of time, if it's not an exact match based on the filters you've set up, it will not automate. It has to match exactly. So if it has, we can click here onto Copilot and we can see that the Copilot rule is sitting here, and we've actually got a hit count here of 1. So by clicking into this rule, I can click on the history here, and this is the issue here that has been automated via this Copilot rule. I can click directly into the maintenance issue here, and this will take me through. So if I look at the detail tab here, I'm sure you will agree with me, this was raised today at 11:18 by Emma Jones, and this issue now is at the issue status, job awarded, awaiting appointment date. It has gone from reported directly to the contractor based on the rule that you've set up. And this is, of course, saving you and your team time, because this reported issue now does not need to be instructed to a contractor by you yourselves. This has automatically been done via Copilot. The occupier will have received the email to say, thank you for reporting a maintenance issue. And again, if you've got that automatic notification set up to let them know that it's been instructed to a contractor, they'll receive that as well. And as well as that, the contractor will have received an email that looks something like this to say that they have now been allocated the job. Further, if they are using the contractor app, they will be able to see this on the app as well. So they'll receive kind of a push notification on the contractor app too. I do hope that makes sense and that you're happy with that. The next few things I just want to very quickly show you on Copilot is I'd like to show you how do nothing works. So if I was to add a rule and say I had a landlord who said, I really, really like Fixflo, but I'm really not keen on using Copilot. Please don't use that for my properties. Then that's no problem at all. What you can very easily do is add a rule to say, landlord Michael Moonling, no Copilot. Okay, so we could do that. Perfect. We could then enable the rule. What you would then do is you would add a filter and you would select that particular landlord, okay? Now you must make sure that your Fixflo site is set up correctly so that Mr. Moonling in this example is registered against the properties that he owns, so that when an occupier reports maintenance issues to those properties, it is for the right landlord so that the correct kind of things happen, so that no issues are automated. So we'll press OK. We can then add an action. So with this example, I'm going to go with do nothing and then press OK. So again, any properties that are related to Mr. Moonling, we want nothing to happen. So I'm going to press OK. Now, if we go back to Copilot, one really important thing I'm going to go through now is the order of your rules. If you have more than one rule set up, what will happen when an issue is reported is the issue will come to Copilot and say, as I mentioned earlier, has exactly what's been reported, does it match exactly the filters that you have set up on Copilot? If it will then go through rule number 1, first of all, does it match exactly? If the answer is yes, then it will go and automate. If the answer is no, it will go to the second rule, check with that. If the answer is no, it will go to the third and so on. So you must make sure that your rule order is correct on Fixflo. So if, for example, you have Michael Moonling do nothing, as an example here, you must move this rule to the top so that if somebody reports that they are locked out, but they are at one of Mr. Moonling's properties, nothing will happen on Copilot. Instead, the issue will come through as a reported issue and it will not automatically instruct onto Reggie. You must make sure that you're keeping your landlords happy, and if they don't want this to happen, that actually you set those rules up. I do kind of hope that makes sense. Any questions? Again, you do have the Q&A. We also here have pre-issue creation rules. Now, this is where you can add a rule. Again, I'm going to go with an empty rule, and you would choose pre-issue creation on the trigger type here. And this is where you can ask occupier if issue is an emergency, like this. Okay, so we're going to enable this rule. Again, you can be really granular on your filters here. So you could say you only want at the weekend occupiers to be asked if it's an emergency. You could only ask about certain boiler issues or power issues. You can literally be really granular here. For this one, I'm just going to go with any, just to show you very quickly how this works. I'm going to click here to add an action. And as you can see, you can ask the reporter if this is an emergency. You can also check for duplicate issues, but that actually only works if it's an agent reporting the issue. It will say this issue's already been raised at this property. But this is a really brilliant one to ask occupiers if the issue is an emergency. So I'm just going to show you what this would look like if we turn this on. So I'm going to press save now. Now, just to show you very quickly, on Copilot, when you look at your rules, they are split. So you've got two different tabs here. You've got your issue creation rules. So these are the rules that you've set up for when the issue is reported. And then you've got your pre-issue creation rules just here. Okay, brilliant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out again, and I'm going to report a maintenance issue as an occupier. Again, I can report any issue at any time now because I didn't put in really any filters for this. So I'm going to say that my boiler isn't working. So I'm just going to say electric boiler not working. This doesn't really matter. I just want to show you how it looks. Here, I'm going to say it's Worcester. I'm going to say the model is classic. So my boiler won't turn on. Brilliant. Perfect. So let's go with Rebecca Green. Okay, so I'm adding all of the details that they need, and then I'm going to scroll down now. Once they've added their address, like that, perfect. Okay, so when they then go to report the maintenance issue, oops, sorry, I do apologise. There we go. Okay, that should now work. Okay, so when they go to report a maintenance issue, if you've got that turned on, it says this will submit to the property manager. So they're happy and they can press confirm. And here they are now asked, is this an emergency? So this is the additional pop-up that the occupier will see if you turn on that pre-issue creation rule on Copilot. So they can say, yes, this actually needs to be resolved within 24 hours, or they can say, no, this can be dealt with the next working day. So this adds an additional layer for occupiers, allowing them to have control about whether they're saying it's an emergency or not. You can then add an additional rule onto Copilot to say any emergencies that are reported, you want to instruct directly onto either the Fixflo contractor marketplace or alternatively one of your contractors. I do hope that that all makes sense. I just did want to kind of show you that pop up as well. Okay, brilliant. I'm just going to go back to my slides now. And I want to point out that as well as going through how it works just now on this webinar, I do hope that made sense. Again, any questions, pop them in the Q&A. I can see a couple have come in already, which is brilliant. Just want to let you know that I'm sure you've heard of Fixflo Academy by now. Fixflo Academy is the best and quickest way to become a Fixflo expert. On there, we have a number of courses. It's completely free of charge to sign up, and all of our courses are free. And it allows you to have step-by-step learning. So you can learn in your own time. You've got on-demand videos on there. You've got key learning slides as well as interaction slides and quizzes. And here you can learn all about Copilot. So there is a free 30-minute course available for you. I will show you how you can get onto this in a moment. And also we will be linking the course out by the end of play this week, along with this recording as well. So if you haven't already, I would recommend that you do sign up to the Copilot course. It's had a really, really high rating as well. We've had kind of over 2,000 course completions in total this year, and we're at about an 8.5 average in terms of our feedback out of 10. So people are really, really happy with our courses, and Copilot is one of our kind of top rated courses as well. So please do have a look at that course. If you would like to start using Copilot, I would recommend that you do that as well. Now we're just going to go through the 3 most popular automation hacks that you need to know. So first of all, we've got introducing different repair reporting protocols based on specific days. So e.g. Christmas and bank holidays. How do you do that? Well, I'm sure you're all looking forward to the bank holiday weekend, which is coming up later in August. I believe it's on the 28th. If you did want to set up any rules specifically for bank holidays, then all you need to do is click into Copilot here. You will click here to add a new rule. Again, I'm just going to I do believe actually we have, do we have bank holidays? No, I don't think we do actually, but you can click here and add. So let's go with a kind of start from scratch again. And when you're adding your rule, remember to put in the rule name, for example, August bank holiday 2023, and then put the rest of it, whatever it might be. And when you're adding your filters, you can also add an additional filter, which is the period filter. And you can say, so say you're doing the bank holiday weekend, you could say actually from the 26th of August up to the 29th. Now, when you're adding these rules and you're adding period, you add the date that you do not want to include. So this will mean it's from the 26th up to and not including the 29th. So you would add the 29th there if you didn't want the 29th, because if you put on the 28th, you're not including the 28th. Just to be super clear, it does tell you how long the period is set for just underneath as soon as you've added your days in. So just to be super clear, the to date, add the date that you do not want to include. So you're including everything up to and including the day before, if that makes sense. And that is how you can do it. Again, you can do this for Christmas too. As soon as that period has finished, even if the rule is still enabled, it will almost be redundant, because actually that rule will never work again because it's only set for that specific period. However, what you could do is, if you were having a period for Christmas every single year and you always had the same rules turned on because you had the same contractor who was happy to do the work, then what you could do is you could just keep the rule enabled, or you could disable it, and then the next Christmas, just before it, you just go into the rule and you amend your period every single year. So it's something you'd have to remember to do, to go in and amend that period, so it does fall into the next Christmas. But this is a really, really good way to make sure that over a certain period of time, you're keeping an eye on all of your repairs, especially with Christmas, because obviously it's cold, it's wet, people's boilers tend to break, and it's a really bad time of year for people not to be able to get their issues resolved. So that can be particularly helpful for them. I hope that makes sense. Just to let you know, any rules can easily be edited by clicking on this edit rule button. You can copy any rules as well. So if, for example, you were, I don't know, creating similar rules, you could just literally copy, and then go in and edit them. You can also click here to see the history of rules, but this rule hasn't been run yet. And then you could also, for example, remove rules here. Again, if you think you're going to use them again at another point, simply disable them and then re-enable them later, just to save you and your team time. Brilliant. So the second hack here is offering a personalised service to landlords based on their individual preferences on contractors. So again, when you are setting up rules, what you can do is you can be landlord specific. So again, on these filters, you have got the opportunity here to add landlord. So you can, on a per landlord basis, make sure that Copilot works for each landlord. So if you had a landlord that said, do you know, I really want to be kept in the loop on every issue and I want every single boiler issue to go to Reggie, then what you could do is you'd search the landlord in here. Brilliant. So we've got that landlord. You'd add another filter. So if this was boiler issues, you would choose, for example, fault, and you could have everything with heating and boiler. Press OK. Then here you could add the action. So you could have notify. You want to notify the landlord and say, hello, this issue has been instructed onto Reggie. Brilliant, he knows who that is. And then you'd add a second action to say instruct works, add Reggie on here, and then you could simply instruct. So that's what you would do, and then of course add the relevant name here. So that is how you could, for example, keep this landlord happy. You've also got the do nothing option, and of course you can, like I say, get much more granular. So this, as we said earlier, allows you to, in a really scalable way, keep that service going. So make sure you keep that personalized service for your landlords. Hope that makes sense. And the final thing is staying on top of automated tasks with smart notifications. Now, just to show you, when you are setting up Copilot rules, you can add as many actions as you want because you can notify as many people as you like. If you wanted to make sure that you're keeping on top of all of your issues, including Copilot issues, you can actually decide to notify yourself as an agent. You can also add an additional email address. So you could add your personal email address here if you wanted to, just so that you're sure. And then you could say something like, you know, instructed via Copilot or something like that. So it's very clear and easy for you to see exactly what's happening. So with this rule, for example, if this was to run, it would notify the landlord, yourself, and also instruct the works directly onto the contractor, notifying them and also updating the issue status too. I did earlier send myself an email saying instructed via Copilot, just so you could see what it looks like. Here we go. So if you wanted to set up that additional notification so that it's very clear for you, it would say something like this. So it would say, Dear Jessica Dubey, and then it would have instructed via Copilot. So this would be like an additional email you'd get on top of the one to say an issue's been reported. So this can be really helpful, allowing you to just keep on top of absolutely everything and keep it super smart. It's about working smarter, not harder. Brilliant. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the questions that have come in. 3 questions have come in, so I'm so glad to hear that. I would highly recommend you stick around for the questions. Do remember you'll receive the recording by the end of play on Friday, so do keep an eye out for that. And I am going to also be pointing you to the Copilot course. Just to let you know, if you do want to access Fixflo Academy to understand how to better use Copilot or any of our features, you can very easily click here on this little training man, click on Fixflo Academy. This will take you straight through to your profile, to your Academy tab. If you are enrolled in any courses, it will show them here and it will also show your progress. And you can click here to go to Fixflo Academy to actually sign up as well. It's so easy to use and it's completely free of charge. If you have any colleagues as well that aren't quite sure how to use any of our features, do remind them about Fixflo Academy as well. But as I say, we will be kind of pointing you in that direction with the email that you will receive by the end of the week. If you are leaving us now, or when you do leave us, I just wanted to let you know that there is a very short survey at the end that will kind of populate as soon as you leave the webinar. Please just let me know how you got on today. We always love to know how you got on and to get some feedback from you. There is also a little box where you can add some text as well. So let us know what worked well and what would work better. Also, let me know if there's anything you'd like to learn, if there's any kind of Ask Me Anything webinars that you want to have. We are starting this series now. There was one on plan maintenance before. This is the second one on Copilot, and I'm really happy to do more of these as well. There is no further polls, so I'm going to go ahead now and answer your questions. So the first one is from an anonymous attendee. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found the webinar helpful. Your question is, if an automated message has been sent out, how can we see this? So just to let you know, if an automated message has been sent out, this will all show on the audit tab of the issue. So if I go to Copilot here and I click into this issue, I can, like I say, go on the history and go into the issue here. And do remember that each and every issue has got this fantastic audit tab, which sits within the issue here. And this will show you absolutely everything that's happened on the issue. Everything is time and date stamped on the left-hand side here. And you can even see the status of emails, sorry. So you can see if emails have been opened or not, and then they'll just say sent. And here, for example, we can see that actually the contractor received an email here. So everything is on here. You can see that the issue was automated as well. So that's the best way to see if an email went out. I do hope that helps. Another question from an anonymous attendee. Hello, thank you for joining me. Would there be a tenant app so it's easier for tenants to report issues? So there is only a contractor app at the moment. There is no tenant app as such that they can download from the Play Store or the App Store. However, if you talk to your occupiers about Fixflo, or even better, if you're texting your occupiers to let them know about Fixflo, you can text through the system. Okay, so that's really easily done. We've got a promote section just here. And with promote, you can promote your occupiers. You can text your occupiers completely free of charge. We'll provide you with credits as well. And what you can do is you can send out this message. This can be fully customized. The one thing you must always include on this text message is your Fixflo URL. Okay, you cannot remove that, but everything else can be, of course, amended and personalized. Just be aware you've obviously got a character allowance when it comes to sending messages. What you can do is if you were to send these messages out, what you can then do, you can also click on people here and occupiers. And let me just check. If I click into an occupier here, this is a really bad example because it's not got any data, but you can click send to occupier and you can actually send them a welcome SMS. Now that SMS is from the SMS I just showed you under the promote section. So you can send out a welcome SMS. When they receive that message, okay, it will have your URL on it because, as I say, that must be on the text message. When they click on that, it will take them straight through to your Fixflo site, and it will actually prompt them to download this as a web app. So the web app is basically completely free of charge. It takes up no space on their phone, and it sits just like a normal kind of tenant app. If they were to download it from the Play Store or App Store, it will sit in their phone and it will allow them to access Fixflo straight away. So although there's no app there's no downloadable app, there is a web app they can download. I do hope that makes sense. It is something I want to create a video on soon. We don't quite have the materials for that, but I think that would be really useful. Someone just said, hi Jess, hello, textual occupiers, does this only work in the UK? Let me get back to you on that. I can't remember exactly. Let me double check that for you. If you can let me know who you are, I will let you know. All right, because you've asked anonymously. So please let me know who this is and I will find out if it works outside of the UK. I'm aware that some of you may be joining from outside of the UK today. So thank you for that question. Dylan, hello, thank you so much for joining me. How do you add property tags? So that's a brilliant question. This is really easily done. So if you click on properties on your left-hand menu sidebar just here, what you can do is you can click into a property like this, and you've literally got tags here at the top. I believe they can be imported as well. So you can set up an import of your tags. But if you wanted to do this manually, you can simply click here. You can add as many tags to a property as you wanted to. So you could have, for example, British Gas. Let's go with that. And then press save. And then what you can do, I don't know if many people know about this, you can actually run through your properties using these little arrows. So this will take me to the second one. That one, okay, no gas. So we don't need to worry about British Gas with this one. Next one, okay, this one, I know this one has British Gas. So again, just start. And it will come up as like an option there because I've added it before. Press save. But so this is how you add tags. Once the tags are on there, what you can do with Copilot is you can click here on Copilot. We've also got an explainer video here on Copilot as well. So if you wanted very quickly to just watch how Copilot works, I know we've been through it already, but this is like a 4-minute video just explaining Copilot in some more detail. You've also got this as well as, of course, Academy. I just wanted to show you that. So if you were adding a rule now about property tags, once they're all added, you could click here to add a rule. You could add the rule name. Let's go with British Gas. Let's say it's enabled, and then you would, once all of your properties are tagged correctly, you could then select the British Gas tag, and then you would be like, okay, any property with British Gas, if the occupier reports that a specific fault to say there's an issue with their hot water, okay, again, you can get more granular, do remember that, but any issue with this example with hot water, we can, and their boiler, say, you could then press OK. And then what you could do is you could add an action to notify the occupier to say, thank you for reporting this maintenance issue. As you have got British Gas Home Care, please contact British Gas on, and then you could provide the home care number as well. You might want to let them know that they need to find their British Gas Home Care reference. If you wanted to make it like really super granular and you wanted to provide them with that reference, then you would literally have to go property by property and set up one for each. Or alternatively, you could just let them know that that's in their welcome pack or however you provided it to them. So that's how you add property tags. If you've got a number of properties on your Fixflo site already, you can import this. To do this, what you would need to do is you would need to go to your properties. You would click on options here and you'd basically export this as an import. Let me see if this works. I haven't done this in a while, so let me just double check. Exporting it as an import basically provides you with an Excel document of all of your properties, but they're in the correct columns for the import, because obviously when you import, the columns need to be in the right order. So if I open this one up, let's have a little look. Wonder if property tags are showing here. Yeah, here we go, property tags. So once you've exported it as an import, then you could literally add your tags here. I do believe if you want to have any spaces between tags, you can't. You would need to have, like this has got branch -1. So any spacing would need to have a hyphen. And between each tag, if you were adding multiple tags, you would need to add a comma. So similar to this. So branch -1 to have a space, and then comma, and then space, and then no hyphen yes, comma, London. So that's adding 3 tags, for example. Remember, Dylan, you will receive this recording as well. And then so you can follow this if you wanted to. So you could add all your tags here. It would be quicker. It depends on how many properties you've got set up, really, but this probably is quicker. And then you would take this Excel document, you would save this as a CSV. So when you're saving it, it has to be saved as in a CSV format. If it's not, then we can't upload it onto Fixflo. Once you've got that all saved, all you need to do is go back into Fixflo, go to setup, click on imports, and from imports you will then click import new data. You would then upload that specific file. Again, it will only upload if it's a CSV, and then please probably allow us 3 working days in order to just go through it and make sure everything's cool, and then it will basically re-import all your properties. Because you've exported your data already, it won't change anything to any of your properties except for add those tags. And that's why it's really important to do an export as an import, because all of the columns will then be in the right rows, if that makes sense. If you need to reach out about that, I'm really, really happy to set up some time to go through that with you, Dylan. But I hope that makes sense. And then you can use those property tags really, really well, especially with Copilot. Hope that makes sense. The person who asked about texture occupiers working in the UK, please let me know who you are. I've only got anonymous attendees, so I won't be able to reach out directly to you. So please do let me know. Dylan, I'm glad that was helpful. Again, if you do want any help, let me know. Really happy to show you anything else. Somebody has also asked what stops your system from being hacked. Well, we've got really good password protection on there. So yeah, there won't be any hacking as long as you've got a really secure password. Brilliant. Excellent. Okay, that's all the questions. I'm going to stay online just for another couple of minutes if anyone's got any further questions. Thank you so much for joining me. I would really appreciate if you could just let me know on the survey how we got on today. I absolutely love to hear feedback and to make things as the best they possibly can be for you. It's been a real pleasure seeing so many of you on here today. Have a lovely rest of the day. Enjoy the sunshine. It's nice to see the sun out, and you'll receive the recording by the end of play this week. Thank you. Bye-bye.